So let's do one thing today. Yesterday we tried property files loading as well, right? So one more way of doing the property. There are a bunch of ways actually. I just told you like more of an advanced way. There are two more ways you can do. Is one way is we haven't succeeded yesterday. I haven't looked at as well. So at the rate using environment class, using the environment class, we try to load the properties, but somehow for some reason we couldn't get the values. So in order to cover up that scenario, let me do one thing, okay, and see if that helps me to. There is another way we can try is context colon. We have annotation config already. We already added, right? Annotation config. So property placeholder. This we can configure. Context property placeholder. What you can do is inside configuration property placeholder, you can provide the location. Okay, location. Is this the program that we're supposed to do? No, not this one. Sorry. Let's go to the our exact. What? IOC properties, right? In our IOC properties, what we need is IOC population properties, right? Here. Anything you want to import certain behavior, you need to use this one. So why do we use this one? Why do you use context colon annotation config? Why do we use? In order to communicate Spring Container that you are using annotations in your application, go back and look at it, right? Okay. And context colon property placeholder location equal to class path colon drivers dot properties drivers one, right? Drivers one dot properties as many as comma separated. If you have another property to load, let me add an application also, right? Class path colon. Can we try that? Give me 1 second whether we can write multiple with comma separator. You can do that. Yeah, let's do it. What is that? Application dot properties. Yeah, I'll call them as POS dot so that we can distinguish. POS dot okay. So in IOC property file, what we did, we just added this line. Okay, class in that we are saying conveying, you don't need to inject all the stuff. This is the another way of doing it. Context play property placeholder location, you need to provide what and all the properties that you have. Okay, go back to your publication. What I will do is I'll write another one, class you have to call value based property placeholder. Okay, here I'll copy paste those. We don't need let's keep separate, that's the reason. Apart from that, nothing. Oh, sorry, this is, we don't need this, and we need this. Not exactly, but yeah. Okay. So how do we load the values, right? As you said, as you configure there, property based, so you can do it here, @value dollar. Let's take from application.properties file, right? So EOS dot driver. Keep it in value, we need to keep it in string. So you, this way you are communicating by configuring this line. By configuring this line, you got the luxury of loading the values directly using this. What does it mean? What happens by doing this? You don't need to explicitly inject the data. Okay. Now we need to access this guy, right? So I need to, what I need to do? Our typical way, we just need to add this bean here, right? Bean ID value property class fully. So we injected. Let's go back and extract the value. We want to see, right, what values are there. So value based property holder value equal to ctx dot get b of folder dot class, and this one copy. Okay, and then you need to display the value, right? Display. Let's see whether the values are being displayed or not. Yeah. See, this is the values that has been loaded through this guy, right? So you to so you can see clearly. See, all this has been loaded from this guy. So did you see how easy it has become when compared to earlier way of, like, you need to explicitly load all the values and inject them, initialize them, and extract them. You are injecting this driver1.property files into db details, and from db details you need to explicitly extract get property this way, right? db details dot get property, db details dot explicitly you need to extract, and you need to inject explicitly into property loader. You can avoid all these things directly. You can configure @properties, so that this is another way of loading up properties into your application. Make sense? Okay, let's go back to SteroType concept, right? So let's start a program and then go back, discuss the program. SteroType annotations are important. You're going to use every day when you write a program in Spring. Those are the ones that you're going to use all the time. SteroType. IOC, I can SteroType. So first thing what I will do, I'll just copy paste all these guys, right? Few things I need to do so that I can save some time. Here I need to create resources. And then I need to call XML file. SteroType -config, you can call it whatever you want. And then here I'm going to paste it the content, and this content we don't need. We'll add it explicitly, and then in form.xml you need to update, right? Paste it. Okay, now okay, so SteroType config is nothing but what you're going to do is yeah, there are 4 types of annotation. So earlier, by using AutoWire, what we achieved, AutoWire is by default by type, right? So if there are more than one class that has been configured multiple times with different instances, in order to avoid the ambiguity, you use @qualifier and then you provide the ID. Okay. Okay. So next thing is, so with that, what you achieved, you don't need to explicitly inject your beans, whatever the dependent beans, into dependent class using the configuration file. Instead of that, you can use @autowire. It will take care. Now one thing you are keep on doing is one thing you keep on doing is still in your configuration file, XML file, you are configuring each and every bean, each and every class that you wrote, and configuring the bean, right? Instead of that, what you can do, using SteroType annotations, by giving annotations to the files, whatever the Java file that you wrote. So you don't need to explicitly write, you don't need to explicitly configure even this one. Getting the point? So this one we avoided using, this part we avoided using AutoWire, and this one we can avoid writing here using annotations, I mean SteroType annotations. Okay, just keep that line in mind, and let's start doing it. So let's do some typical things. So whatever we do, right? Context dot annotation config. Okay, there is another one is context colon. See, these are the global level you can do. So which means one time when your application is coming up, this will trigger. This will be parsed and learned and compiled by your Spring container. Okay. So I'm going to use component scan. What is this component scan, right? What is this component scan? This component scan, let me tell you. I'll create a package here. Com bell info. Image code dot. By doing this, what you're going to achieve is, when your application starts, your container start parsing your bean configuration file, and it starts looking for annotation config. So it understands there are some annotations in the Java classes, so I need to go back and check all the Java files and then act accordingly. Then it looks for component scan. What does it mean? It says, okay, there is a package com.bellinfo batch 4 IOC. I need to go and parse this package. In order to understand all the annotations that has been there. I need to scan. So now whatever you wrote inside this class, right, inside this package, all those will be scanned by your container, Spring container, and then all the annotations will be addressed accordingly. Okay, that's what the use of component scan. So for this, let's go back and start writing few programs so that we can better understand. So in our previous program itself, we did plane and engine concept, right? So what I will do, I'll take a plane class which will have a engine. There is another class called engine. And In engine what we have, display engine details, right? Public void display engine details. Okay. Okay, for now. Yeah, it's enough. So the here what you're going to use, you're going to use plain class where you're going to have engine details, engine, and how does this engine is going to be available here using auto void. Nice. Let's write one more class so that we can get more clarity rather than title. So earlier what you used to do, you go back into your configuration file, configure the engine class right here, engine blah blah blah, and then that engine will be automatically injected into using AutoWare. But instead of that, what you can do is, instead of configuring the XML file, all you can do is copy it. Okay. And on plain also what you can do, component. Give me 1 second. Sorry guys. So now just go back to your core application file. We know how to load the application context x equal to new XML. What is that? I keep on forgetting. Class path, class path. We just mentioned SteroType -config.xml. Okay. Then you can ask plain equal to ctx dot get bean. Here you can use any type, plain dot class here. Even you don't need to pass this bean, right? So now it will directly created. It's created by proxy internally. Okay, and then what you can say, p dot engine. It will return engine dot display engine details. That's it. Let's see what happens. Jet engine. Okay, so did you configure anything in the SteroType config file? Nothing except these two. One is go back, there is annotations, and another one is which package that Spring container need to look into it. So your configuration has been reduced and moved you through the annotation. Let's write another class just for quick understanding. What do you call it? Pilot info. Okay, let's try something like that. Pilot info also part of your here you can say public void display pilot details. Okay. Just there is a file called I'll just create another file just no, to make more complex and more understand plain property, plain detail, plain property, something like that, where you know plain dot engine type engine type engine type plain dot pilot name. Yeah, this way we can save. So now what we can do here is all you need to do is string pilot name, and then you need to load at the rate value inside dollar plain dot what is the property name. Okay, this is one, and engine engine also we can modify. Okay, string engine name, engine type at the rate value dollar quotes dollar, and then you can simply display ngr. Here also as well as relative. Okay, so now see how much complexity has been getting reduced. Now you need to inject pilot, right? Pilot, sorry, what is the pilot info, right? Pilot info and then on it is the rate auto-wide. That's it. So now here come back to your app program. All you need to do is p dot pilot info dot display pilot results. It failed. Why it failed? You configured with a dollar, but you haven't provided certain info in your configuration, serial configuration file. What is that? We did something in our previous program. What we did? By loading the properties, you need to communicate what exactly you want to load. A property placeholder, you need to configure property placeholder into your programs. What you need to do, context.placeholder, location and location of the file. That you need to do, right? So context, property placeholder, location, class path, colon, plain dot, properties. Did I copy something wrong? Yeah, class path, properties. That's it. Let's run the program. What mistake we did? Can anyone identify? You haven't injected this bean, you haven't communicated, right? You haven't created this bean. This SteroTypes creates the bean and AutoWire injects the beans. Okay. Got my point? How you are injecting? Did you ever create an engine class here? Nope. Your AutoWire will take care of it. Make sense? So what we did component, right? Even you can use service here, but it has basically what happens is if you use component, if you use service, right? What will happen is it's like service is nothing but component plus some transaction functionality. At the rate repository is component plus connectivity, external DAO, data access connectivity related functionality. At the rate controller is component plus incoming request, like HTTP servlet request is there, right? Functionality. Okay, and then yeah, this one, lifecycle methods. What are the lifecycle methods that has been there? So I'm not going to do with a declarative approach. I'm just directly go to the district, what you call that, annotation based. So if you want to do something before if you want to do in your engine class, let's say, where is the engine class? So if you want to do something in your pilot class after creating an object, anything you can do after creating an object, right? If you want to do something after creating an object, then you can write a method called any method that you want, public void post contact, right? Yeah. What you call after being, yeah. after loading, something like that. Okay, you can use anything. You can write here any business logic. Once object is created, before somebody calling it, if you want to do something, you can write anything. This is a post construct, post pilot info object instance creation, post pilot creation, and before accessing the pilot in class, something like that. Okay, so how do you communicate? All you need to do is using post. Oh, why the heck, maybe I need to add another library. Post construct we should have for that, but it is not picking it up. Why it is not showing? Give me a second and just check it. Basically, annotations will automatically available as soon as you have all the libraries that has been come. Oh. This post construct and post retro is not available in. They are available in JavaX. So let's see whether I have a JavaX installed or not. JavaX dot. It is there, right? What the annotation dot. Should be. Warning you can ignore, and there is some other reason. Okay, and there is another thing called public void destroy. If you want to destroy some info and you don't want to keep that in the loading system, so you can use @ any before life cycle anything will be get destroyed. So if you want to, like, if you remember, before getting GC collected, what you call going to call finalize method, right? Same like here, before you this being getting cleaned up, you can use some logic, you can run some logic to this will be called when container triggers, when container triggers destroy. All right. So let's go back here again. There are lifecycle methods, right? By IOC container, we can maintain simple POJO class lifecycle. In order to achieve this, we need to configure application context, GTO container. Bean lifecycle can be achieved in 3 ways. One is programmatic approach, implementing initialization bean, disposable bean. Nobody does now. Declarative approach, it's going away. Init method or destroy method. Another approach is annotation based. So to active inject annotation @ post construct @ pre-destroy. Okay. Default lifecycle methods for entire configuration. Then at a root element, you can, that is blah blah blah. I mean, if basically what he's trying to do is, if you want to apply these not only for pilot class, if you want to apply for engine, you want to apply for plane, then go to stay here, and in the beginning of here and a global level configure that. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah. lookup methods, go back and read all the stuff. There is nothing. Properties we just tried. Internationalization is nothing but in this properties file. International file, what you will do is like basically you will configure what kind of what you can say language that you are looking for, and then it will load accordingly. Okay. This is resource bundle, resource bundle. Yeah, just try this, but this piece actually, last time also I gave assignment. Try this highlighted piece, internationalization, how you can achieve. I configured everything that you need to do here. Okay, you can display Telugu language, right? When you open some sites, you can see display Telugu language. Some sites it will be Tamil, some sites Spanish, right? How does it happen is like by configuring the internationalization property files. Okay, try this please and see if it works for you. Okay. Yeah, that's it for Spring IOC and configurations. The core piece has been done. So next piece is MVC, right? So MVC we can pick it up tomorrow, and then we can do one end-to-end program with this MVC. Yeah, MVC flow you need to understand. Okay. What else is there? Yeah, once we're done with MVC, that should be good progress actually. Yeah, and then spring tiles in MVC, we can do it together. Then we need to go back to the Hibernate and AOP we need to cover, sorry. We need to cover AOP, and then we can go for Hibernate. Once that is done, we can do again that whatever we did with the JDBCs, servlets and JSPs, we can do with Spring and Hibernate together. Then we can do one Spring Boot application, microservices experience. Then we can do MongoDB. After that, we can discuss about Amazon. Yeah, I hope we are on track. Okay. Yeah, thanks guys for today. Keep in mind, you guys are going to do one small project at the end of the session. So, yeah, could you please give you overview of Spring IOC in brief? Did you miss it in earlier cases or what exactly?